When Raquel Welch stepped onto the set of 1 Million Years BC, clad in her now iconic fur bikini, she likely had no idea that it would define her image and haunt her in the years to come. But Raquel's story didn't begin with prehistoric landscapes or battling dinosaurs. It started with a young girl named Jo Raquel Tejada, who had dreams far different from the path that would make her a Hollywood legend. Born on September 5, 1940, in Chicago, Illinois, Raquel Welch was the daughter of two ambitious parents. Her mother, of English descent, came from a family of creatives and was the daughter of a renowned architect. Her father, an aeronautics engineer from La Paz, Bolivia, came from a lineage tied to greatness as well. In fact, Raquel's cousin back in Bolivia would go on to become the nation's first female president. But politics didn't pique Raquel's interest. From an early age, her passion was clear. She wanted to dance. The Tejada family moved to San Diego, California, when Raquel was just 2 years old. By the time she turned 7, her dream of becoming a dancer was already taking shape. She began studying ballet with an intense dedication, pouring a decade of her life into perfecting her craft. But when she was 17, her dream came crashing down. Her teacher delivered devastating news. Raquel didn't have the right body type to succeed as a professional ballerina. As a teenager, Raquel's striking looks began to turn heads. She started competing in beauty pageants and quickly became a regular on the winner's podium. Crowned Miss Photogenic, Miss Contour, and Miss La Jolla while still in high school, Raquel cemented her place as a queen of her local beauty scene. When the San Diego Fair rolled around, she claimed the title of Miss San Diego, earning her the nickname the Fairest of the Fair. Raquel's blossoming beauty wasn't just an asset, it became her power. She began to explore how her looks could open doors to new opportunities. At just 15, Raquel found another kind of magic, her first true love. She met James Welch, the boy who would sweep her off her feet. In her memoir, she described their meeting as destiny, writing, "From the first minute I saw him, I secretly knew that I was destined to have his babies." Raquel Welch's first love was the kind of story you'd find in a high school yearbook. She was the vivacious cheerleader, brimming with energy and intellect, while James Welch, her football-playing beau, was quiet, reserved, and far from academic. Their differences were undeniable. She was outgoing and driven, while he dropped out of school. Despite their differences, Raquel and James couldn't stay apart. Though they briefly broke up, the couple reunited and decided to take a leap of faith together. In 1959, Raquel dropped out of college and ran off to Las Vegas with James, where they tied the knot. The impulsive decision didn't sit well with Raquel's parents, who were less than thrilled about their daughter's choices. That same year, Raquel and James welcomed their first child, a son named Damon. At just 19 years old, Raquel was suddenly balancing marriage and motherhood, and the weight of these responsibilities began to take a toll. Reflecting on that time later in life, she admitted that becoming a mother at such a young age was overwhelming and challenging. It was a pivotal moment that would shape her perspective on life and her decisions in the years to come. 2 years after Damon's birth, Raquel and James expanded their family with the arrival of their daughter, Tani. But while their family grew, their relationship began to crumble. Raquel's ambitions for a career collided with James's conflicting vision for their future, creating a rift that couldn't be bridged. By 1964, their high school romance had come to an end. The couple divorced, leaving Raquel to navigate life as a single mother and a woman determined to pursue her dreams. Packing up her young children, she moved to Dallas, Texas, where she took on whatever job she could find to support her family. She modeled for Neiman Marcus, one of the country's most prestigious department stores, and even served cocktails at a bar to make ends meet. Despite her determination, this was a challenging period for Raquel and her kids. Recognizing that she needed a bigger opportunity, she set her sights on Los Angeles, a city where dreams could come true, but also one filled with uncertainty. In LA, Welch began landing small roles in TV shows and films, including a brief part alongside Elvis Presley. Though these gigs were far from glamorous, they gave her a taste of Hollywood. One of her early auditions turned out to be for Gilligan's Island, a show that would later become a TV classic. Producers had her read for the wholesome Mary Ann instead of the glamorous Ginger. Welch didn't land the role, and it's hard not to wonder how different her life might have been had she joined the sitcom's iconic cast. But fate had something much bigger. While she was hustling to find her place in Hollywood, Welch crossed paths with Patrick Curtis, a former child star who was now working behind the scenes. Patrick immediately recognized her star potential, though to be fair, most men couldn't help but notice Raquel Welch. However, Curtis didn't just see her beauty, he saw the makings of a Hollywood icon. He quickly took on the role of mentor, offering her advice that would forever alter the trajectory of her career. His first suggestion? Keep her ex-husband's last name, Welch. The reasoning behind it was more calculated than sentimental. Curtis had a clear vision: to transform Raquel Welch into a Hollywood bombshell. But there was one problem: her Latin-sounding family name. In the 1960s, the entertainment industry was steeped in stereotypes, and audiences had limited ideals for what a leading lady should look and sound like. Curtis believed that using the name Welch would help her appeal to mainstream audiences, giving her a better shot at stardom. Raquel reluctantly agreed. Raquel Welch's meteoric rise to stardom began in 1965, a pivotal year that saw her life change in extraordinary ways. First, she landed her first featured role in the beach-themed comedy A Swingin' Summer, where her natural beauty and charisma lit up the screen. But it was the second event that truly catapulted her into Hollywood's spotlight. Welch was named one of the Deb Stars by the Hollywood Deb Stars organization, a prestigious event designed to showcase up-and-coming female talent in the film industry. Her inclusion wasn't just a title. It came with a stunning photo spread in Life magazine that turned heads across the country and got everyone asking, "Who is Raquel Welch?" Being a Deb Star gave Welch's career the momentum it needed. With Patrick Curtis still guiding her, she was recommended to 20th Century Fox and soon signed a studio contract. The executives loved her last name, Welch, but they weren't as thrilled with her first name, Raquel. They suggested changing it to something more mainstream, like Debbie, believing it would be easier for audiences to remember. But Raquel, despite being new to the industry, stood her ground. In 1966, Welch's big break came with her first film for Fox, the sci-fi adventure Fantastic Voyage. The plot centered on a team of scientists who shrink themselves to microscopic size to save a colleague's life from the inside out, was groundbreaking for its time. One particularly memorable scene required Welch's character and her fellow scientists to remove antibodies sticking to their bodies. While the male actors were tasked with pulling the antibodies off Welch, the scene didn't go as planned. Initially hesitant, the actors avoided her chest area altogether, leaving her still covered in antibodies as the camera rolled. The director, frustrated, called for a cut and instructed the men to fully commit to the scene. While under contract at 20th Century Fox, she was offered a role in Valley of the Dolls, the film adaptation of Jacqueline Suzanne's scandalous novel about women navigating fame and addiction. Producers wanted her to play Jennifer, the sultry and sensual sexpot character. But Welch, desperate to shed the image of being just a body on screen, flat out refused the part. The role ultimately went to Sharon Tate, another rising star at the time. For Welch, it was a bold move, a calculated rejection to demand respect in an industry that often reduced her to a mere pinup. However, just as Welch was striving to reshape her career, Fox loaned her to Hammer Studios for 1 million years BC in 1966, a film that would solidify her image as a global sex symbol. The movie, set in a fictional prehistoric era where humans and dinosaurs coexist, cast Welch as a cave woman with a wardrobe consisting of exactly one iconic outfit: a fur bikini. Audiences, particularly teenage boys, were captivated, and the poster of Welch in the now legendary bikini became a cultural phenomenon. Though the film catapulted her to fame, Welch herself wasn't entirely enamored with it. She later dismissed 1 million years BC as that silly dinosaur movie, downplaying its artistic merit. The poster of Welch in the fur bikini became a pop culture touchstone, even appearing decades later in The Shawshank Redemption as a nostalgic symbol of Hollywood glamour. But for Welch, being remembered as a cave woman wasn't enough. In 1966, Raquel Welch found herself in Italy, taking on a role alongside the legendary Marcello Mastroianni in the film Shoot Louder, Louder, I Don't Understand. While the project had all the ingredients for success, critics were less than kind, branding the film a disastrous dud. Though the film didn't elevate her career, Welch's time in Italy allowed her to refine her craft, but the call of Hollywood soon brought her back to the States, where bigger roles and bigger challenges awaited. By 1967, Welch's relationship with Patrick Curtis, her manager and mentor, had taken a romantic turn. On Valentine's Day of that year, the pair tied the knot, making Curtis both her husband and her manager. They continued to shape Welch's burgeoning career as she prepared for a string of high-profile projects. One of these roles, however, would stir up controversy with a scandalous shower scene that had everyone talking, proving once again that Raquel knew how to capture the public's attention. In 1968, Welch appeared in the biggest bundle of them all, starring alongside Robert Wagner and Edward G. Robinson, two of Hollywood's most seasoned actors. But while Welch was dazzling on screen, her behavior behind the scenes reportedly caused tension. Her co-stars and crew accused her of acting like a princess, showing up late and unprepared. The legendary Edward G. Robinson, known for his no-nonsense demeanor, eventually snapped at her, while the director threatened to cut her close-ups if she didn't improve. The scolding brought Welch to tears. Later that same year, Welch switched genres, trading comedy for the rugged landscapes of the American frontier in the Western Bandolero, starring opposite Hollywood heavyweights James Stewart and Dean Martin. For a change, Welch managed to avoid any overly revealing scenes, keeping her clothes on throughout the film. Critics gave the movie a lukewarm reception, but audiences still couldn't look past Welch's infamous figure. Even James Stewart couldn't help but comment, cheekily stating that Welch would stack up all right. Her next major role came in the 1968 crime film Lady in Cement, starring opposite Frank Sinatra. Once again, Welch found herself marketed not for her acting, but for her appearance. Movie posters didn't shy away from listing her measurements alongside her name, reducing her to little more than a bathing beauty. When the film flopped at the box office, critics didn't hold back, dismissing Welch's performance as limited while praising her undeniable looks. No matter how hard she tried, it seemed Hollywood only cared about her appearance. In 1969, Welch took a bold step into controversy with her role in the Western 100 Rifles. Starring alongside Jim Brown, she made headlines for her on-screen love scene with him, one of Hollywood's first mainstream depictions of an interracial romance. The scene broke boundaries and sparked discussions about representation in film. However, Welch also proved she wouldn't compromise her principles. When the production proposed an outdoor nude shower scene, she flatly refused, standing her ground and insisting on keeping the nudity out of the film. It was a rare moment where Welch wielded her power, showing that she wouldn't let the industry dictate her boundaries. Determined to prove her worth as a serious actress, Welch embraced a daring and unconventional role in the 1970 film Myra Breckinridge. Playing a transgender character, she hoped the project would allow her to showcase her acting chops and redefine her career. Instead, the film descended into chaos. Critics eviscerated it, calling it disorganized and incoherent. Behind-the-scenes feuds with co-stars like Mae West added fuel to the fire. What Welch had hoped would be her breakout, dramatic role turned into yet another Hollywood scandal, leaving her frustrated and further from the respect she craved. Refusing to give up, Welch took matters into her own hands. Partnering with her husband Patrick Curtis, she formed a production company called Kurtwell, aiming to create roles that offered her more substance. In 1971, they released Hannie Calder, a female-driven revenge western that allowed Welch to showcase a tougher, more dramatic side. Though the film was largely overlooked at the time, it later gained cult status and became a future influence on Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill series. For Welch, Hannie Calder represented something more personal. It was a chance to step out of the box Hollywood had put her in and take control of her career. By the early 1970s, Raquel Welch's career took an unexpected turn as she pivoted from big screen roles to the small screen. With her film projects struggling to achieve major success, Welch turned to television in search of a fresh start. In 1970, CBS aired Raquel, an extravagant television special that showcased her versatility as a performer. Shot in exotic locations, the show highlighted Welch's singing, dancing. The special was a ratings success, but it came with a familiar drawback. Once again, much of the attention focused on her looks rather than her talent. Frustrated by the lack of challenging parts, Welch took matters into her own hands. Her production company, Kurtwell, became a vehicle for her ambition, allowing her to seek out or create roles that could demonstrate her range as an actress. But breaking out of the Hollywood mold wasn't easy. The industry's obsession with youth and sex appeal made it nearly impossible for Welch to convince decision-makers to see her as more than just a bombshell. Undeterred, she kept pushing forward, determined to find that elusive breakout performance that would redefine her legacy. In films like Bandolero, she managed to stay fully clothed while delivering strong performances, a rarity in an industry that often tried to strip her of substance. Reflecting on those roles, Welch expressed satisfaction in showing her serious side, distancing herself from the half-naked pin-up image Hollywood had cast her in. But even when she gave commendable performances, many critics and co-stars remained fixated on her physique, refusing to look past her glamorous exterior. As the early 1970s progressed, Welch found herself increasingly overshadowed, not by scandal, but by the perception that her career was stagnating. On-set feuds and the relentless media focus on her looks only added to the narrative. Offers for major roles began to slow, prompting Welch to explore other avenues, including television specials, smaller films, and public appearances. While the media framed her shift as a slow fade from stardom, the reality was more nuanced. Welch wasn't giving up. She was recalibrating. Raquel Welch found a new stage, literally. During a lull in her film career, she stepped into the spotlight on Broadway, taking over from Lauren Bacall in the production of Woman of the Year. Though it was initially a temporary role, Welch's performance left such a strong impression that critics praised her commanding stage presence. Producers invited her back for a longer run, a bright moment in her career that proved Welch had talents that extended far beyond her screen persona. It was a significant shift, demonstrating she could captivate audiences in a live setting just as effortlessly as she had on film. Following her Broadway success, Welch leveraged her iconic beauty in innovative ways, turning her image into a lucrative brand. She released the Raquel Welch Beauty and Fitness Program, a book offering readers a glimpse into her diet, exercise routines, and style secrets. She further expanded her influence by launching product lines that included wigs, skincare, and jewelry. For an actress often reduced to her looks, Welch now wielded her beauty on her own terms, transforming it into a business empire. This savvy branding move allowed Welch to carve out a niche in an industry that often overlooked women over 30. While Hollywood roles became scarce, Welch embraced her glamorous persona, giving fans exactly what they wanted while maintaining greater control over her narrative. Corporate sponsorships and product endorsements flourished, ensuring her place in the spotlight even as traditional acting opportunities dwindled. However, Welch's quest for a serious Hollywood comeback wasn't without its setbacks. In 1982, she found herself at the center of a legal battle with MGM after being fired from the film Cannery Row. Welch claimed her termination was unjust, and after a contentious court case, she won a massive settlement. While the legal victory was a personal triumph, it came at a professional cost. The lawsuit painted Welch as litigious, and many studios became wary of hiring her, fearing potential complications. The win ultimately became a double-edged sword, stalling her return to major Hollywood productions. In 1980, Welch married Andre Weinfeld, a French-American producer, director, and writer. The wedding took place on a picturesque beach in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Yet even this joyful occasion wasn't spared from media scrutiny. The French press cruelly dubbed the couple Beauty and the Beast, unfairly criticizing Weinfeld for not being conventionally handsome enough for Welch. Despite the ridicule, the pair remained devoted to each other, brushing off the noise and enjoying their time together. Free from the constraints of Hollywood studios, she stepped into touring musicals and theater productions, reconnecting with live audiences in a way that felt fresh and liberating. Her hard work and stage presence earned praise from critics, with many calling her stage career a second act, an opportunity to redefine herself beyond the image of a bikini star. However, the aftermath of the Cannery Row lawsuit continued to cast a long shadow over her career. While Welch had won a significant settlement after being unjustly fired from the film, the victory came at a cost. Producers in Hollywood grew wary of working with her, fearing she might be difficult or, worse, litigious. This perception effectively shut her out of many potential film offers. Forced to pivot once again, Welch leaned on smaller projects, television cameos, and her entrepreneurial ventures to remain in the public eye. Still determined to reclaim her place in the spotlight, Welch pursued a variety of comebacks during the late 1980s and early 1990s. She took on comedic guest roles in popular television shows like Seinfeld and Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, surprising audiences with her sharp comedic timing and self-aware humor. While these appearances weren't leading roles, they reminded fans of Welch's enduring charm and versatility. Her career shifted, so did her lifestyle. Welch described herself as more of a homebody than a social butterfly, a far cry from the public's image of her as a constant figure in the Hollywood spotlight. While she occasionally made public appearances that reminded fans of the iconic beauty who once graced countless posters, Welch largely retreated from the limelight. Her relatively private existence became a stark contrast to her larger-than-life screen persona. with paparazzi sightings of the star becoming rare moments of intrigue. Of course, Welch's reputation wasn't without controversy. On the set of films like The Last of Sheila, co-stars and crew members often criticized her behavior, labeling her as selfish or inconsiderate. However, others argued that Welch's so-called diva moments were simply a reflection of her strong sense of self and refusal to compromise her comfort. By that time, many in Hollywood assumed that her glamorous public persona was inseparable from her true personality, a misconception that often worked both for and against her. In her later years, Raquel Welch often reflected on the double-edged sword of her career. While her status as a sex symbol undeniably launched her to stardom, it also became a lasting shadow that she could never fully escape. Even decades after her iconic appearance in 1,000,000 Years BC, audiences and critics alike continued to define her by that infamous fur bikini poster. Welch candidly admitted that while her image opened doors in Hollywood, it also pigeonholed her, overshadowing her many efforts to showcase depth and versatility as an actress. Despite this, Welch carved out a legacy that went far beyond her early roles. She often spoke about the contrast between her glamorous, larger-than-life on-screen persona and her quieter, more grounded, real-life nature. In interviews, she revealed that she valued privacy and cherished a simple life away from the spotlight. This separation between Raquel Welch, the icon, and Raquel Welch, the individual, remained a defining aspect of her story. On February 15, 2023, after a brief illness, Raquel Welch passed away peacefully at her home in Los Angeles at the age of 82. Her passing marked the end of an extraordinary life, but her impact on Hollywood endures. Welch's daughter, Tanny Welch, continues to work in show business, carrying on the family's connection to entertainment. Raquel Welch's story is one of strength, perseverance, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. Despite the challenges she faced both in her career and personal life, she left an indelible mark on Hollywood and inspired countless people with her beauty, talent, and tenacity. Her legacy as an icon of the silver screen will continue to captivate audiences for generations to come. Thank you for joining us in celebrating the incredible life of Raquel Welch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned for more stories about the stars who shaped Hollywood's golden era.